am Pramod Kumar, and today we will study microeconomics. Our chapter is non-competitive markets, right? And the items that we will cover is simple monopoly in commodity market, competitive behavior versus competitive structures, market demand curve is average demand curve, total average and marginal revenues, marginal revenue and price elasticity of demand, and short run equilibrium of monopoly firms, right? So how do we go about it? We start like this. Earlier we have discussed about perfectly competitive markets. So for that certain conditions were assumed. What were those conditions? There are so many sellers in the market that one individual seller's contribution in the market is so small that he or she cannot affect the price. There are so many consumers in the market that a single consumer cannot affect the price. His purchases are so small as compared to the overall purchase in the market, right? And the firms are free to start, stop, increase, reduce production. And the firms have complete knowledge of market prices, input prices, supply, demand, etc. Right? So, monopoly, here we talk about non-competitive markets. So, more primarily we will study monopoly here. What is monopoly? Mono means one, right? Monopoly is a market structure with a single seller. So we need to understand something more. What is a monopoly? In a monopolistic market, there will be only one seller, single seller, and the product that seller will be producing will not have substitutes. That product will not have substitutes, and there will be restrictions on entry into the market because the single person holds the market. Obviously there will be restrictions on entry of other players in the market, right? Then perfect competitive market. In a perfectly competitive market, individual firm is unable to influence the price because market is very large. There are so many firms in the market, so many firms that an individual cannot influence the price by increasing or reducing the supply. Then we try to know about competitive behavior and competitive market structures. So generally it has been found that when there is a competitive market structure, they move in opposite direction. Competitive behavior and competitive market structure move in reverse direction generally. So when the market structure is very competitive, competitive behavior is not there, or when the competitive behavior is there, market's structure is not competitive. So the example has been given of Coca-Cola and Pepsi. They compete between each other for increasing their sales revenue and capturing a larger share of the market. That thing we don't find among farmers, right? One farmer doesn't compete with his or her fellow farmers to increase production and capture more share of the market. Pepsi and Coke have huge power to influence the market, whereas individual farmers don't have that influence. They don't have that influence to impact the market, right? Now we will study market demand curve. In a, what we are going to study here, market demand curve is average demand curve. So it can be represented through a very simple diagram. O, quantity, price, right? If price is P0, quantity here is Q0, right? If price increases, it goes to P1, then quantity gets reduced to Q1. So we can draw it like this. At P0 low price, quantity demanded is high at Q0. Price is OP0 at a lower level and quantity demanded is at higher level OQ0. Price increases, it goes to OP1. Quantity decreases, it comes down from OQ0 to OQ1, right? And this is the demand curve, right? This is the demand curve. So what do we get out of this demand curve? See, in a perfectly competitive market, what happens? At price 0, lower level of price, quantity demanded in the market is high at Q0. When the price goes up from OP0 to OP1, quantity demanded comes down from OQ0 to OQ1. OQ1 is smaller than OQ0. OP1 is bigger than OP0, right? But in a monopoly market, what happens? They see it the other way around. They see that this is the price available at different levels of quantity demanded in the market. A monopolistic firm is a profit maximizer. A monopolistic firm is a profit maximizer. So it sees from the reverse side. What does it see? It sees different levels of prices that will be available to it at different levels of quantity supply required in the market. So what does it do? We have already discussed that the players are fully aware of the market conditions, supply, demand, price, input prices, everything. So this monopolistic firm also is aware of those facts. So what does it do? It knows that this is going to be the demand curve. So it manages its price by deciding upon what quantity it will supply. The monopolistic firm has got an option to come to the market with larger supply, larger quantity at lower price, or to come to the market with lower level of supply at higher price. So of course it will choose to come to the market with lower quantity at higher price, because entire market demand has to be supplied by this monopolistic firm, because it's the single supplier in the market and there is a restriction on entry of other players in the market, right? So what does it do? It knows about the demand curve, so it decides at what price it will supply how much, right? That is why it is called a monopolistic firm is a price maker, right? Not a price taker. Price maker. How does it make the price? It decides with what quantity it will come to the market at which price, because it is fully aware of the demand curve, right? So this is market demand we are discussing is the average revenue curve. So here it writes, price in the market affects the quantity demanded. Price in the market affects the quantity demanded by the consumers. This is also expressed by saying that the quantity purchased by the consumers is a decreasing function of the price. As price decreases, quantity demanded increases, right? And there is a very clear sentence written, for the monopoly firm, the market demand curve expresses the price that is available for different quantities supplied, right? For the monopoly firm, the market demand curve, and the monopoly firm is aware of this market demand curve, right? For the monopoly firm, the market demand curve expresses the price that is available for different quantities supplied. This idea is reflected in the statement that the monopoly firm faces the market demand curve. A monopoly firm faces the market demand curve, right? And what does this market demand curve indicate? At which price, what is the quantity that will be demanded by the consumers? At this price, this much, at this price, this much. Since the firm is assumed to have perfect knowledge of the market demand curve, this monopolistic firm, the monopoly firm can decide the price at which it wishes to sell its commodity. It will decide the price, right? And therefore determines the quantity to be sold. It determines the quantity to be sold, whether it will sell OQ1 at OP1 or OQ0 at OP0, right? Since the monopoly firm is aware of the shape of the curve DD, aware of the curve shape DD, if it wishes to sell the commodity at the price P0, it can do so by producing and selling the quantity Q0. Since at the price P0, consumers are willing to purchase the quantity Q0 because it is reflected by the market demand curve. This idea is concretized in the slogan, monopoly firm is a price maker, not a price taker. It is deciding at which price it will supply how much to the market, right? So we can try to understand through a very simple formula. We can try to understand through a very simple formula about the revenue of the monopolistic firm, right? And we will take an example of a demand curve, right? And the equation will be Q is equal to 20 minus 2P. Quantity demanded is equal to 20 minus 2P, right? So what we will do? In terms of P, we will explain this equation in terms of P. So 2P is equal to 20 minus Q, and therefore P is equal to 10 minus 0.5 Q, half Q, right? Q is equal to 20 minus 2P. So in terms of P, when we redo the formula, it comes to 2P is equal to 20 minus Q. So P is equal to 10 minus half Q, right? That's done. Now what happens? We know fully that TR is equal to P multiplied by Q, right? Total revenue is equal to price multiplied by quantity. So here, what do we get? TR is equal to P into P multiplied by Q, or Q multiplied by P, whatever you say, right? So we'll do this, is equal to P is equal to 10 minus 0.5 Q into Q is equal to 10 Q minus 0.5 Q square, right? TR is equal to P, multiplied by Q. P we know 10 minus 0.5 Q into Q. So 10 Q minus 0.5 Q square, right? 0.5. Then we come to average revenue. What is average revenue? Average revenue is total revenue divided by the quantity produced. So total revenue upon Q, and we know total revenue is P multiplied by Q upon Q, right? Average revenue is equal to total revenue divided by Q, right? Suppose I have produced 10 items, 10 units, and the total revenue is 100 rupees. So total revenue 100 divided by units produced 10 is equal to 10. So average revenue is equal to TR upon Q, and TR we know is P into Q upon Q, Q crossed P. So average revenue is equal to P, right? Now what we do, we will see the same thing through a diagram, right? Now, in order to make things more clear, let us go to this table. If we are able to understand this table completely, most of the things we will be able to understand. We have discussed this thing earlier also. Quantity, price, total revenue, average revenue, marginal revenue, price elasticity of demand. We start with 0, quantity 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to 13, right? So at 0, price is 10, means price is 10 but quantity produced is 0. At 1, when 1 unit is produced, the price is 9.5, and at the second unit production, the price is 9. Third, 8.5, fourth, 8, 5, 7.5. Now, when you see this equation in light of this, you see this 10Q, you take any one, we will do 2 for you to understand. 10Q minus 0.5 Q square. Let us take 3, right? So 10 into Q 3, 30 minus half Q square. What is half? Half of Q3, 1.5. And what is 1 square of 1.5? 2.25, right? We have taken 3, so 10Q is equal to 30. So 0.5 into Q square. What is Q? 3. So 3, 9. So what do we get? 4.5. 30 minus 4.5, 25.5. 30 minus 4.5 is equal to 25.5. So you will find here 25.5 is the total revenue, right? Now let us take another one. Let us take 8. 10 into Q8, 80 minus half into Q square, 0.5 into 8 is 64. 80 minus 64 multiplied by half, 32, is equal to 48. Against 8 you will find total revenue of 48. Let us take one more example, 12, right? 10Q, 10 into 12, 120 minus 0.5 And what is this? 12 into 12, 144. 120 minus 72 is equal to 48. Against 12 you will find total revenue of 48. So this equation fits in well for all levels. Another thing that you will have to notice is what it is. When the quantity produced increases, the rate of increase of price declines. For the first unit, price is 9.5. For the second unit, price is 9. For the third, it is 8.5. With increase in quantity, produced quantity, price declines, right? And what happens when the price declines? What will happen to the total revenue? Total revenue is Q into P. 1 into 9.59, 4 into 8, 32, 7 into 6.5, 45.5, 11 into 4.5, 49.5. TR is equal to Q into P, right? So initially you will find that with increase in Q, quantity produced, TR goes up, right? So up to this level, 9.5, 18, 25, 45, 48, 49, 50. After 10th unit production, it starts declining, right? After 10th unit is produced, it starts declining from 50, 49.5, 48, 45.5. Why does it decline? Because marginal revenue has turned negative. So long as marginal revenue is positive, TR will keep on increasing, total revenue. The moment marginal revenue starts becoming negative figure from here, total revenue will start declining. Earlier it is increasing, up to this it is increasing. Now it starts declining. Here marginal revenue has turned negative, minus 0.5, right? And another thing you will find, marginal revenue remains below average revenue. Marginal revenue remains below average revenue. Why does that happen? Because average revenue includes price at the initial stage also, which was higher, whereas the definition of marginal revenue is revenue out of sale of an additional item. So the more we keep on selling, the marginal revenue keeps on gradually declining. So that is why marginal revenue remains below average revenue. And price elasticity of demand we know. What is the formula? Percentage change in demand upon percentage change in price, right? So I will solve one of these for you, right? Which one we take? Let us take 4, quantity 4. So here what is happening? The quantity has increased from 3 to 4, right? So we need to get 4 minus 3 upon 3, original one. The increased quantity minus the original quantity. Increased one is 4, original one is 3. 4 minus 3 upon original, 1 upon 3, right? So what is the change in quantity? 33.33%. Now let us see change in price. It was 8.5 and become 8. So what is happening? The difference of 0.5 over 8.5. So how much it is? Say 50 upon 85 into 100, right? So this will be around 3, you can say 2.95 you say. So 20 into 3, 60, so less than 60, right? Right? So percentage change in quantity is this demand and this one less than 60. So 33.33 upon 60. So you see what it is? 5.67. Sorry, we have gone wrong somewhere. Okay. Price elasticity of demand is equal to change in demand, percentage change in demand upon percentage change in price. We are taking the fourth one. So 4 minus 3 upon 3. 1 upon 3, 33.33. Then in 4 1, from 8.5 it has gone to 8. So half divided by 8.5, right? So this is wrong. This less than 60 is wrong. We could very well say 50 upon 85 into 100. So 85 to 50, it comes to say 0. It won't be 58. So 0.58 into 100 is equal to 58, right? Change in price, change in quantity, half of 8.5, half of 8.5, so it comes to, why we are getting this? This is 6% of this. 10% will be 0.85. Let us say 6%. Let us say 6%. This is it is 6%, right? So 33.33 upon 6% is equal to, you will find 5.67, right? 5.67 is here because we are talking at this level. What is price elasticity of demand at this level when we are talking of the next 3 to 4, right? Now we go to, we will see one diagram. So you need to study it more and more, this table, right? The diagram is like this. O, quantity, price, right? And here it goes like this. So initially total revenue goes up. Initially total revenue goes up. After a certain point it starts coming down. After a certain point it starts coming down. So TR is maximum at this level. And what is this level? 10 units. Right? And what is this level? 50. Right? Total revenue is 50 at quantity level of 10. Total revenue is 50 at quantity level of 10. Right? And here two more lines are there. One line goes like this. This is D is equal to, demand is equal to average revenue. Right? And another one goes like this. This is MR. Marginal revenue after the 10th unit production starts becoming negative. Marginal revenue after the production of 10th unit starts becoming negative. It is going down the line, right? So TR is maximum at 10 units, and we were talking about the monopoly firm which maximizes profits, is a profit maximizer. Now we go to total, average and marginal revenue. Total, average and marginal revenue. We can see that from a single diagram. Here, when you see like this, once again this is a TR, but what we need to see here, the slope is sharp. At this point, slope is declining. At this point, slope is 0. There is no slope. At this point, it is going down, downward slope. This slope is increasing, positive slope, but very steep. This slope is also increasing, but it has become flatter. It's not as steep as this. A is very steep, B has become flatter, C has become flat. There is no slope, and D is declining. So it shows the position of marginal revenue, right? When the marginal revenue is rising, TR is rising. When marginal revenue is positive, when marginal revenue is positive, TR will rise. Marginal revenue positive, TR will rise. Marginal revenue negative, TR will fall. Then another position could be marginal revenue is here. So here total revenue is at its maximum when marginal revenue is flat. Here marginal revenue is positive, total revenue is positive, goes up. Marginal revenue is negative, total revenue comes down, right? Steep, flatter, no slope, negative slope. And here is the maximum revenue, right? Relation between and total revenue we have already discussed. The marginal revenue at any level of output is given by the slope of the total revenue curve, slope at that level of output, right? At this level of output, this is the slope. At this level it is this level, right? So what do you see here? This is the price. When the price goes up, it starts becoming flatter, and at this price it becomes totally stable. It doesn't, there is no slope, and then it starts declining, right? Then we will go to the another diagram is the distance between AR and MR, average revenue and marginal revenue. It says when AR is very steep, when average revenue is very steep, the distance between AR curve and MR curve is high distance, and when AR average revenue curve is dipping slightly, not very steeply, the distance between AR and MR is less. So it has been given by two examples, O output and AR/MR, right? It has given like this. This is AR, average revenue, right? It's not falling very steeply. So from here only This is MR. So when you see the distance between the two, the distance is not very large. But in the other example, if you see O output, AR, MR, here the slope is like this, AR. So you see here the slope of MR is not very steep, but here the slope of AR is very steep. And from here only it goes here, it will go more MR, right? So what is this? So relation between AR and MR. If the AR curve is steeper, this one is steeper, AR curve is steeper, then the MR curve is far below the AR curve, right? Then marginal revenue and price elasticity of demand. Price elasticity of demand is more than 1. Price elasticity of demand is more than 1 when marginal revenue is positive. When the MR is positive. Price elasticity is less than 1 when MR is negative. So this is called elastic. This is called inelastic. Right? When price elasticity of demand is more than 1, marginal revenue is positive and it is called elastic. When price elasticity of demand is less than 1, MR is negative and it is called inelastic. Right? And the third position, it is called elastic where price elasticity is greater than 1, right? And inelastic where less than 1, and unit elastic. If it is equal to 1, it is called unit or unitary elastic, right? Right? Price elasticity is more than 1, MR is positive. You can see here, more than 1, price elasticity 1.22, then MR is positive. And the moment MR becomes negative, it becomes less than 1. And unitary elastic at 1, right? So we'll rub it off. Now we go to short run equilibrium of the monopoly firm. We are taking an example, short run equilibrium of a monopoly firm. We are taking an example from the book only. Suppose there is a village and there is a well in the village, and entire population of the village is dependent on that particular well for the supply of water. That well is owned by a person, right? And that person holds total control over the supply of water from that well. What he is doing, that gentleman is charging the villagers, suppose 5 rupees per unit of water. Though the cost of that gentleman is 0, he is charging 5 rupees per unit of output. So people are buying at 5 rupees per unit, people are buying 10 units. So what is happening? What is happening here? People are willing to buy 10 units of water at 5 rupees per unit. But here the problem is that this price has been fixed by the seller. This price, because it is a monopoly. There is only one well in the village and some gentleman owns that well, controls the supply of water from that well and charges people at 5 rupees per unit and sells 10 units per day. Though that gentleman has incurred zero cost, he is charging this. So what happens? Supply remains decided by the monopoly firm, because he has decided to charge this price. The monopoly firm here, the well owner, knows about the market demand curve, right? So he has fixed this price and supply also. So now if we compare it with a perfectly competitive market situation, then what happens? There will be infinite number of players, right? They will be producing as much as they want, and what people will do, one person in the perfectly competitive market will reduce the price from 5 to 4 and he will sell 8 units, right? He will sell 12 units. At 5 units, that gentleman, monopoly firm, was selling 10 units. He will sell 12 units, 48 rupees. Still another firm, because infinite number of players are there in the perfectly competitive market, will reduce the price to 3, and what will they do? Sell 14 units, 42 rupees. Still another will come, 2 rupees. What will that do? 2 rupees will sell 16 units, 32 rupees. So finally what will happen? It will keep on declining, the price will keep on declining, the quantity will keep on increasing. So finally it will stop at zero profit. When in the perfectly competitive market, when the players start getting zero profit, they will stop increasing the production, right? So in the perfectly competitive market, what do we find? Higher quantity supplied at lower price. In monopolistic firm, lower quantity was supplied, 10 liters, 10 units at 5 rupees. In the perfectly competitive market, 20 units are provided at 3 rupees or 2 rupees. So price has gone down, supply has increased in the perfectly competitive market. That's the difference. And in perfectly competitive, they keep on producing till their profit becomes zero, right? Comparison with perfect competition, introducing positive costs. Then we will see one more diagram. Total revenue and total cost, right? And what is the profit? Suppose in this zero cost, profit is equal to TR minus TC, total revenue minus total cost. So this gentleman, he was earning 50 rupees, cost was 0. So his profit was 50, total revenue 50, profit 50, because 0 cost. That well owner was not incurring any cost. So at maximum of TR, the monopoly firm had maximum of profit. So total revenue maximum had gone up to 50 because that monopoly firm had restricted the supply to 10 units at 5 rupees per unit. So maximum total revenue was 50, and at that maximum revenue, total revenue level, the monopoly firm had maximum of profit. Here in the diagram we will see total revenue, total cost. We have already discussed profit is equal to TR minus TC, right? First we will draw total revenue. We have already drawn so many times total revenue. And how does the total cost go? Total cost goes like this. Right? This is total revenue, this is total cost. So the difference between total revenue and total cost is the profit. The difference between the total revenue and total cost, this area is the difference. So it will be different at various levels of output and at various levels of prices, right? And these two can be represented by a single this thing. This is a profit curve. The last one that we have drawn is a profit curve, right? So total revenue goes up and comes down, and total cost initially declines, then goes up, right? And the distance between the two is profit, which is represented by this curve, right? So firms in the market inevitably approach Q0 level of output. What is the Q0 level of output? That is the level of output at which price is P0 and the demand is settles at Q0. We can draw it like this. O output, and this should be the price. Here O output price. We have already seen that the marginal revenue curve cuts the average cost curve from below and it's at its lowest. So, and the shape of the marginal revenue curve has been like this, MR. Marginal cost curve, right? And average cost curve has been like this. Average cost. So you will notice marginal cost cuts the average cost, or this is the short run. In the long run, LRMC cuts the LRAC at its lowest point. So here also marginal cost curve cuts the average cost curve at its lowest point. And we have one D, demand is equal to average revenue, right? Demand is equal to average revenue, that is here. This can go like this, and here it is. This is D is equal to, demand curve is equal to average revenue, right? Then what is left? Marginal revenue. Marginal revenue will be like this, MR. So here you will find that up to this point, marginal cost curve is below marginal revenue cost, right? Marginal cost curve is below marginal revenue cost, means marginal revenue is more and marginal cost is less. So what does it indicate? Marginal revenue is more, marginal cost is less, means the company earns, right? And here average revenue, market demand curve cuts it, right? And this is the Q0 level of output. Here is the Q0 level of output, and the price is here. P0, right? At P0, Q0 level of output. Equilibrium of the monopolist in terms of the average and the marginal curve. The monopolist profit is maximized at that level of output for which MR is equal to MC. Marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. So here marginal revenue curve, marginal cost curve. So this is the, for the monopolist firm, this is the equilibrium of the average and marginal revenue curves. Since the firm inevitably reaches Q0, even if it is here, it gradually reaches here. If it is here, it gradually reaches here. Since the firm inevitably reaches Q0 level of output, this level is called the equilibrium level of output. Since this equilibrium level of output corresponds to the point where MR equals MC. MR equals MC, then this equality is called the equilibrium condition for the output produced by the monopoly firm. Equilibrium condition for the output produced by the monopoly firm, right? Then when we discuss some critical views, what are the critical views? There are a lot of for and against the monopolistic firm. Some views are that monopolistic firms hold total control over the price and the quantity supplied by virtue of there being the single supplier and there being restriction on the entry of other players in the market. So they charge higher because they are the single suppliers, others cannot enter, and the product doesn't have a substitute. So they charge higher and keep the supply limited because they are aware of the market demand curve and they know what quantity to supply at which price, and they do that. So the negative sides are that they control the price, charge higher, keep the supply limited or restricted or whatever, and they retain the profits at the cost of the consumer's interest. But other argument is that monopolistic firms earn more, so they are left with more profits. That profits they invest in research and development and improving their production standards, efficiency. So finally they come to a stage where they are able to produce more of better quality at lower prices finally. So there are a lot of for and against arguments so far as non-competitive firms like monopolistic firms are concerned, right? So what we will do, we will take 5 minutes and try to sum up whatever we have done, right? So monopoly, it's a market structure with single seller and product is not a no substitute for the product and entry is restricted for other players. In a perfectly competitive market, individual firms are unable to influence the price. They are so small in the scheme of things. Competitive behavior and competitive market structures are inversely related generally, and pure monopoly position is a most visible exception to these things. Market demand curve is average revenue curve. Price in market affects quantity demanded by consumers. Quantity purchased by the consumers in the market is a decreasing function of price. Price decreases, quantity increases. Monopoly firm is aware of the shape of curve DD. It is aware of this shape of curve, and therefore monopoly firm is called a price maker. It will supply whatever at what price. Demand function we have already discussed. Q is equal to 20 minus 2P. We have explained everything. As quantity increases, Q increases from 0 to 13, rise in TR is smaller. Here it was 9.5, here 8.5, here 7.5. Rise is smaller, right? After 10 units of output, what happens? TR starts declining from 50 to 49.5, 48 after 10 units. Marginal revenue values fall. As quantity increases. As this increases from 0 to 13, this value decreases, marginal value. After 10 units of output, marginal revenue has become negative. At 11, it has become minus 0.5, right? Then we have seen the slope. Slope was steep, flat, no slope, declining slope, right? So at this stage where the slope was steep, what was there? Steep, flat, 0, declining. So when slope is 0, here marginal revenue is 0. When slope is declining, marginal revenue is negative, right? When total revenue is increasing, MR is positive. When total revenue is increasing, MR is positive. When total revenue is declining, MR is negative, marginal revenue is negative, right? If average revenue curve or market demand curve is falling steeply, marginal revenue curve is far below average revenue curve. If average revenue curve or market demand curve is less steep, the vertical distance between marginal revenue curve and average revenue curve is less, smaller. And price elasticity of demand is more than 1 when marginal revenue has a positive value, that is called elastic. Price elasticity of demand is less than 1 when marginal revenue is negative, it is called inelastic. And when price elasticity of demand is equal to 1, it is called unitary elastic, right? Short run equilibrium of monopoly firm, we have seen the case of zero cost in the case of the well in a village owned by a person. Profit maximizing firms in the monopoly, profit received equals revenue received minus cost, but here cost is 0, so whatever is the total revenue is a profit. Profit is equal to TR minus TC, so profit is equal to TR minus 0, profit is equal to TR, profit is equal to total revenue because 0 cost is involved, right? Profit maximizes when TR maximizes. We have seen that profit maximizes at this stage when the TR was maximum, right? This occurs at 10 units of output. When MR is equal to 0, marginal revenue, price at which output will be sold, in the market is price consumers are willing to pay. That is the price the consumers are willing to pay. This is given by demand curve D for monopoly firm. D we have seen, right? Market demand curve is the average revenue curve. Average revenue we have seen, right? Average revenue AR is equal to TR upon Q. So TR is equal to P into Q upon Q, right? Then comparison with free market, infinite number of firms will be there. Infinite number of firms will be there, right? So they will supply as much as they want, and they will end up at 20 units in lieu of 10 units supplied by the monopoly firm, and 20 units at lower price as compared to the monopoly firm, right? Larger quantity is sold in a perfectly competitive market at lower price, right? Change in profit is equal to change in total revenue minus change in total cost. Marginal revenue curve, when it is above MC curve, marginal cost curve, firm continues to produce. When MR curve is equal to MC curve, firm reaches quantity Q0, which we have discussed, Q0. When MR curve is below MC curve, it is advisable to reduce production because they are losing more, earning less, right? Since the firm inevitably reaches output level Q0, this level is called equilibrium level of output. And since this equilibrium level of output corresponds to point where MR is equal to MC, this equality is called equilibrium condition for output produced by a monopoly firm. So I hope you found it easy to understand. In case of any difficulty, please approach me on my email ID, which will be there at the thumbnail to the video. Thank you.